Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're looking at a massive, literally groundbreaking infrastructure shift that's happening right now in one of the most rugged, unforgiving terrains on the planet, Ladakh. We are talking about engineering at the absolute extremes, where human ingenuity meets the brutal reality of the Himalayas. We're going to break down exactly how the geography of this entire region is being fundamentally altered to secure National Highway 1. Let's get right into it.
So think about this for a second. How do you actually defend a border, or even maintain basic supply lines, when the only way in or out routinely gets buried under 10 feet of snow? I mean, this isn't just a simple road paving project we're talking about here. This is a story of critical survival. It's about overcoming total geographical isolation, and, as we'll see, it is a massive, high-stakes geopolitical challenge.
4,108. That is the staggering altitude in meters of the Fotu Pass. To put that into perspective, you're looking at an elevation of well over 13,400 feet. That makes it the absolute highest point on the critical Srinagar-Kargil-Leh highway. Now, operating anything at this altitude, let alone a continuous flow of heavy highway traffic, is a complete logistical nightmare. The air is dangerously thin, temperatures are freezing, and the environment is just entirely hostile to any sort of continuous human movement.
Okay, let's dive into this a bit more. The micro-level conditions here completely sever this vital region from the rest of the country. Every single winter, the Fotu Pass just gets slammed. We're talking about snow accumulation reaching anywhere from 5 to 10 feet. The road surfaces, they turn to solid ice. And when you combine that ice with incredibly steep mountain gradients and these terrifyingly sharp turns, you essentially get a death trap. The result is that during intense snowfall, traffic just stops. It comes to a dead, complete halt, totally cutting off the only major road artery connecting Srinagar to Kargil and Leh.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the Himalayan bottleneck. Second, engineering an all-weather corridor. And finally, the national security imperative.
Part 1. The Himalayan bottleneck, conquering the elements.
Now, I absolutely love this quote from the project documents because it just perfectly captures the paradigm shift happening here, taking traffic beneath the mountain rather than over it. For decades, the strategy has literally been to just fight the mountain by driving right over the exposed ridge of the pass. And that leaves vehicles entirely at the mercy of the weather. But by tunneling straight through the solid rock instead, you are fundamentally removing the weather from the equation altogether. It's a total game changer.
Because the historical reality on National Highway 1 has just been this exhausting, completely unsustainable cycle. First, intense snowfall blocks the exposed pass. Then, authorities are forced to risk lives in constant, highly dangerous snow clearance operations just to carve out this tiny, narrow path. And finally, despite all of that crazy effort, traffic inevitably halts anyway, severely disrupting vital supply lines. I mean, you simply cannot run a modern strategic region by constantly fighting nature and basically losing half the year to ice.
Which brings us to Section 2, an all-weather corridor, engineering at scale.
Now, what's really interesting here is this number. Over 7,000 crore rupees. That is nearly $1 billion US. That's the combined massive budget for the Zojila and Fotu tunnel projects. The government is pouring a truly staggering amount of capital into this terrain for one simple reason. Combining these two mega projects is literally the only way to genuinely turn Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh's National Highway 1 into an all-weather strategic corridor. Let's actually break down these numbers a bit to understand the two vital pieces of this mega infrastructure puzzle. So the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways is initiating twin unidirectional tunnels at Fotu. They're each nearly 2 kilometers long, costing over 824 crore with a really tight 3-year deadline. But, that's just one piece. The other piece is the Zojila tunnel. This thing is a massive 13.15-kilometer beast slated for a 2028 deadline. Put them together, and they completely eliminate the absolute worst choke points on this entire route.
And just to put that into perspective, while the Fotu project is highly strategic because of its immense altitude, the Zojila project is absolutely gargantuan. At 13.15 kilometers, when it's completed in 2028, Zojila is actually going to officially become the longest tunnel in all of Asia. That's just wild.
And the absolutely crucial point for you to take away from this is that this isn't just some conceptual drawing sitting on a whiteboard somewhere. Progress is happening right now. The government has already allocated the budget and initiated the bidding process for Fotu. And even more exciting,
A massive, milestone breakthrough ceremony for the Zojila tunnel is literally happening next week. Rapid milestones are being hit on the ground as we speak.
Let's move on and see how this builds into Section 3, National Security, the Geopolitical Catalyst.
To really understand the urgency behind all this money and engineering, we have to look at the timeline and the geopolitical catalyst. Back in 2020, there was a major military standoff with China in eastern Ladakh. Following that specific event, the necessity of robust, uninterrupted connectivity to the region was suddenly viewed through a very stark national security lens. Relying on weather-dependent roads wasn't just an inconvenience anymore, right? Achieving uninterrupted, year-round connectivity instantly became an absolute, top-tier national security priority. And this brilliantly illustrates how eliminating these weather bottlenecks serves a really powerful dual purpose. On the civilian side, you're drastically improving travel efficiency between Leh and Kargil, you're shortening road distances, and you're enabling real long-term economic development. But on the military side, you are securing the uninterrupted year-round movement of personnel, heavy equipment, fuel, rations, and vital supplies directly to forward deployments. The overall payload capacity of this road goes up exponentially.
So let's look at what this term actually means in practice. An all-weather corridor isn't just about, being able to drive without snow chains. It is a highly dependable, year-round transportation network that structurally eliminates weather-induced bottlenecks. When we talk about an all-weather corridor on NH1, we are talking about vital, literally unstoppable defense and logistical capabilities working seamlessly right alongside civilian mobility.
Which leaves us with this final thought to ponder. As borders and extreme environments become more and more contested, it's not just about boots on the ground anymore. It is all about logistics. So our megatunnels, infrastructure that bypasses the mountains entirely, the new ultimate weapons in high-altitude geopolitics, engineering is literally reshaping the map, and Ladakh is ground zero. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your eyes on the mountains.